Live from Television Hill, this is WJZ News at 6.
More than 72,000 cases of COVID-19 have been confirmed in Maryland as of today. The state is seeing a slight rise in hospitalizations. Hello again, I'm Max McGee. In the past several weeks, many areas chose to expand things like outdoor dining, but that doesn't mean the fight is over. 2 Ocean City businesses are closed this weekend after employees tested positive. And WJZ is live tonight. Stetson Miller's in Canton, where business owners are dealing with a similar situation. Stetson.
Hey, Max, that's right. Yeah, business owners here in Canton recently had to shut down a couple restaurants for a similar situation that happened a couple weeks ago. But the bad news is not stopping people from coming out to eat. Another set of restaurants in Maryland shut down because of employees testing positive for the coronavirus. The latest incident happening in Ocean City on Friday at Fishtails OC and the Purple Moose. Both of them announcing on Facebook that they're now closed for the weekend because they learned multiple staff members have the virus. This comes about a week after several restaurants in Canton closed because of their employees also testing positive for the virus. That's led some here to be a little more cautious.
I've just become a little more picky about where I'm willing to go and making sure that the places that I'm willing to go are taking things a little more seriously.
In the area over the weekend, parts of O'Donnell, Linwood, Potomac, and Curley streets are shut down from noon to 10 p.m. to allow for more space for outdoor dining. Bob McLinden came from Germantown to enjoy ice cream on Saturday and said as long as people wear masks and follow CDC guidelines, he feels safe eating outside. Wants to support local businesses.
People need to work. Businesses need to stay open.
Yeah.
The economy needs to keep going.
His daughter Madeline saying she likes the outdoor setup implemented in several towns and cities in Maryland.
So it's a very nice change of pace. I guess a silver lining amongst everything.
Yeah. The state's COVID-19 positivity rate is at 4.55% now. Positive cases over the last 24 hours have increased by 500 to nearly 72,500 cases. Over 3,100 confirmed deaths related to the virus have now happened, and 390 COVID-19 patients are currently hospitalized. And if you're driving down here to Canton today or tomorrow, the city is asking you to be aware of the additional posted parking restrictions. We're live in Canton. Stetson Miller for WJZ.
Now, across the country, yesterday's numbers broke records with more than 66,000 new cases of the virus. Now, many states are cracking down on restrictions. Once again, Michael George reporting tonight for WJZ.
About 4 months into the U.S. coronavirus pandemic, Florida now has more than 250,000 confirmed cases. Florida's governor says the recent surge has shifted to a new demographic: young people.
Far and away now, they're the #1 age cohort, that 25 to 34-year-old.
Despite rising case numbers, 2 Walt Disney World parks in the Orlando area reopened to the public Saturday with masks required and social distancing enforced. But in recent days, many states in the South and the West, including Georgia, Arizona, and California, have been reimposing rules.
I feel like them opening up in the first place was pretty much a tease. If we just took the quarantine serious in the first place.
At midnight Friday, bars across large parts of Nevada returned to Phase 1 restrictions.
People have bills to pay. It's economy out here. This is what they depend on.
Texas Governor Greg Abbott this week warned of a possible lockdown if the state's surge isn't brought under control. He says residents must follow his statewide mask mandate. In Cleveland, a small group rallied against new orders from the governor to wear masks in several counties. Michael George, CBS News, New York.
The World Health Organization says COVID-19 can be spread by breathing contaminated air. Now, previously, they said transmission was limited to contaminated surfaces and close contact with infected people. Well, now they say the research is overwhelming, especially for indoor gatherings for poor ventilation. They're calling for increased research. And despite huge case spikes in Florida, Disney World reopened to visitors today. The park complex closed almost 4 months ago and is now back with some restrictions. Orange County, where Disney World is based, has had a troubling caseload recently. Yesterday, it reported daily increases 1,400% higher than they were when phase 1 of the reopenings began. New at 6, 2 men died in 2 separate shootings in North Baltimore. The latest was about 3 hours ago on the Alameda, a couple blocks from Walter P. Carter Elementary School. Police say they found the man wounded at the scene. He was later pronounced dead at the hospital. Police didn't give any details on suspects or their descriptions. Another man suffered a similar fate overnight. This was just before 1 this morning along Cecil. That's just north of the Greenmount Cemetery. The victim's name was not released, and police haven't ID'd a suspect. If you know anything, call police or Metro Crime Stoppers. A small group of protesters met in Pasadena today to raise awareness for racial inequality and police brutality. It happened at 2 p.m. today and was called Hear the Youth. Several young people spoke to the crowd, talking about how they wanted to see change in the world. And members of the NAACP spoke as well. A group called One Pasadena put it together. Another protest was held in Taneytown earlier today. This one was organized by a Francis Scott Key High School graduate. She says the goal is to put an end to the disrespect she experienced growing up in Carroll County. Organizers say they work with ample support from police in the area for the event. They work with a group called Ambassadors of Love, which extends the mission of the Black Lives Matter movement. It's become an annual tradition in Dundalk, cleaning up monuments dedicated to the War of 1812. Sean Stryker introduces us to the Clean Bread and Cheese Creek community cleanups and tells us what keeps them going.
Now, this organization holds multiple cleanups throughout the year, but for the past 12 years, right around the 4th of July, they hold one special one to clean up monuments to the War of 1812. A truckload of trash, a sign of a hard day's work in Dundalk.
I don't care if it's been 1 year or 1,000 years. If you died in service defending our country and our way of life, you deserve to be honored.
The cleanup of Dundalk's War of 1812 monuments, an annual event that has been hosted by Clean Bread and Cheese Creek community cleanups for the past 18 years.
They were in such deplorable condition. There was trash, they were overgrown, and I said, why are they like this? And they said, well, there's no funding to take care of them. And I said, well, then we will.
A lot has changed thanks to the hard work of volunteers.
It keeps everybody happy by keeping the community clean. As long as this area is clean, we're all good.
Karen Cleet used the cleanup to get her boys outside.
But, you know, it's also a good way that we can still sort of keep that social distance and get some outside time while doing something good.
And while they're leaving these monuments in tip-top shape, they plan to be back next year.
We will do this as long as we can because, I mean, there's no time service to honoring the memories of those who's fought for our country.
Now, they hold at least a dozen cleanups throughout the year. If you want to get involved, we tell you how you can do that on our website, WJZ.com. Reporting in Dundalk, I'm Sean Stryker for WJZ.
All right, it's been a hot and humid day. It's even humid in the studio right now. Taking a live look outside through our harbor cam. The heat has been a theme all week long. Let's bring in meteorologist Chelsea Ingram. Chelsea, I have a feeling this is going to be a theme for a lot longer than just this past week.
Well, Max, you know, it is the summertime, and yes, the heat and humidity will continue as we head into the upcoming week, and it'll also continue this weekend. Today, the official high temperature was 90 degrees. That's just 2 degrees above average for this time of year. Let me show you where we stand right now. Our temperatures are checking in the 80s. It's currently 87 at BWI, Thurgood Marshall Airport. It's 88 in Annapolis. We're in the upper 80s in the district, mid-80s in Westminster. It's a little bit cooler out in Hagerstown, right around 81 degrees. The cool spot on the map, well, you have to go all the way out to Oakland, where we find a temperature right around 70. Now, as far as dew points are concerned, now we have seen worse, but dew points are in the mid-60s. So it is noticeable as far as how much moisture is in the atmosphere. Unfortunately, these numbers will only climb even as we head into the upcoming week. Radar showing a couple of very spotty showers associated with a very broken line that's pushing off to the east. Some located in and around Cambridge. They're just showers, not seeing any lightning associated with these, but otherwise things will kind of diminish with daytime heating. Expect a muggy summer night, sunset right around 8:34, low temperatures falling to around 70 degrees. I'll let you know what you can expect for part 2 of the weekend coming up in the full forecast. Max, I'll send it back to you on TV Hill.
Chelsea, thank you. Whether you want to eat outside or just order takeout, Howard County Restaurant Week kicks off Monday as businesses struggle to make ends meet. This couldn't have come at a better time. It's the first time curbside and delivery options will be available as part of the event. So far, more than 20 restaurants are participating. A cyclist is on a 13-day journey to bring awareness to racial inequalities in America. Connor Hoyt started in Richmond, Virginia. He made a stop in Baltimore and will finish in D.C. The route is hundreds of miles, and there's a significance to the length.
I wanted to get 401 miles, a mile for each year since the slave trade was brought to America. And along the way have just been documenting sites of significance.
Now, Hoyt created an Instagram account for the trip, Biking for Justice 401. He's raising money for the NAACP. The goal is $10,000. So far, Hoyt tells us he's at $7,000. All right, still to come on WJZ News at 6. The CEO of Ford says it will continue to make cars for police after backlash from the Black Lives Matter movement, while the company says it won't back down. And an NBA team called this place home for nearly 3 decades. Now the Palace at Auburn Hills is gone. What's next for the location? Hey, let's take a live look outside right now through our harbor cam. It's a hot and humid week. Meteorologist Chelsea Ingram is back with her 7-day forecast. A building the Detroit Pistons called home for nearly 3 decades is no longer standing. Cruz used 800 pounds of explosives to bring the Palace of Auburn Hills down. The Pistons won all 3 of their NBA titles there. The property sold in June 2019. There are plans to turn the space into offices for research and technology. Ford CEO says the company isn't getting out of the police car business. Employees called for the automaker to stop because of a series of high-profile killings of black Americans by police. Now, a petition on change.org has about 12,000 signatures in the last month. The Ford Interceptor is the nation's best-selling police car. Now, CEO Jim Hackett says the company will keep selling it while still supporting Black Lives Matter. He says it's better for both police and the public for Ford to sell cars to cops the most advanced vehicles possible. Workers at a meatpacking plant in Colorado walked off the job this week. It's the same plant that had an outbreak of the coronavirus earlier this year. Now, employees say they're upset over a pay dispute. They say a pay raise was supposed to be immediate, but is now being spread out over several years. Workers are demanding better pay because of hardships from coronavirus.
Everybody at JBS is still concerned about their health, affecting other people outside of JBS, and JBS is doing nothing to help us out.
Now, JBS says the union refused to call for a vote on the pay increase and hopes the differences could be settled soon. Thousands of people rallied against Serbia's president and government policies. Protesters aren't happy with the response to the pandemic. One person was stabbed in the leg in the crowd. Critics say the decisions to allow soccer matches, religious festivities, and private gatherings, as well as parties, are to blame for a new surge in infections. The president rejected those claims and says the protests are senseless. Iran is putting a ban on large gatherings to stem a rise in coronavirus infections, but the president insists the country's economy has to stay open. During a meeting today, the president says weddings and wakes are on hold. Police announced the closures of all venues until further notice. The death numbers rose overnight by 188 people. Australia is starting a 6-week lockdown in Melbourne after an increase of coronavirus infections. Now, Victoria became the first state to ask people to wear masks. Authorities first attributed most new cases to people returning overseas, but are now concerned community transmission is causing a second wave. In England, swimmers got to take a dip as the government announced pools could reopen, but they are still socially distancing. Workers widened lanes to allow swimmers enough space. Members will also have to book time slots. The manager says it was a challenge to get things ready because the permission came so late.
It's been a challenge to kind of inform the staff, let the customers know what to expect, get all the systems up and running, and then make sure the centre's COVID secure in terms of the customer journey, and everyone knows what to expect.
Last weekend, the UK reopened pubs, restaurants, and hair salons. All right, still to come on WJZ News at 6. Meteorologist Chelsea Ingram, 7-day forecast. Here's a live look at a muggy day on the harbor. When will we get a break from the heat? Stick around. Okay, meteorologist Chelsea Ingram, hopefully you're standing or sitting in the shade because some areas hit 90+ degrees out there.
Whew, that's right, Max. And officially at BWI today, we made it to 90 degrees. So that's 2 degrees above average for this time of year. It certainly is a summer-like day, and it is summer in the city, that's for sure. Let's take you to those numbers across the region right now as we are checking in around 87 at BWI. It is a little bit cooler out in western Maryland and Oakland. We find 70 degrees. It's 86 currently in Ocean City, 89 in Salisbury. Still a couple of hot spots in southern Maryland. That's where we find La Plata at 91. 87, and in Patuxent right around 90 degrees. We'll take you down the ocean where the temperatures are in the 80s. It's 83 degrees at the Ocean City Inlet and Ocean Pines, upper 80s and upper 80s in the Delaware beaches as well. We've been monitoring a couple of spotty showers, a lot of them located north of the Mason-Dixon line, but we can kind of follow a broken line of disturbance down over onto the eastern shore, and there's a couple of spotty showers in and around Cambridge, making their way into Sussex County there in Delaware. No lightning associated with those as of right now. Tonight, we'll see skies turning clear. It's going to be humid. Overnight low temperature right around 69 degrees. So other than a very spotty shower chance, look at those clear skies overnight. So we'll start out with tons of sunshine as we head into Sunday morning, but by the afternoon, it'll get a little bit unsettled. A disturbance is going to be pushing through the region, so we will see more sunshine mixing with more in the way of cloud cover as we head into the afternoon, and then some showers and thunderstorms developing, some of which could actually be on the stronger side, and then eventually things will fizzle out a little bit as we head into tomorrow night. This is all something we have to keep a close eye on, though. We do have a severe threat. Again, this is mainly going to be for areas west, and then things should continue to fizzle out as these storms progress toward the east, but a marginal risk for severe weather from Washington County on westward. All right, so that means an isolated severe thunderstorm can be possible. At the pool tomorrow, 92 degrees. It's going to be a hot and humid one. Just keep an eye to the sky, mainly during the latter part of the day. And then at the beach, down the ocean, 88 degrees. Grab the SPF. It's going to be a hot and humid one on the sand tomorrow. You're going to have to take a dip in the ocean. All right, the next 7 days, more of the same. A couple of shower and thunderstorm chances, hot and humid conditions, and more temperatures in the upper 80s and 90s. Max, I'll send it back inside to you on TV Hill.
That SPF for sure. Thanks a lot, Chelsea. Still to come on WJZ, new research shows more symptoms COVID-19 patients can experience. We'll tell you what experts say are some of the first symptoms for some patients. All right, be sure to watch the CBS primetime lineup at 10 o'clock. It's 48 hours. That's immediately followed by your favorite show, WJZ News at 11. Schools near Memphis have been closed since mid-March, and churches noticed a need for nutrition in the community. So starting Monday, families can get a free meal. Leadership set up the process to carefully prepare the food and minimizing contact. They say it's all about helping people during this unprecedented time.
Children just really get at the heart of anybody that's got any level of sensitivity. It makes a difference to the parent who is, in fact, that meal. That's one less meal that they have to prepare.
All right, so they describe it as a grab-and-go situation with no ID or explanation required. All right, there's more debate tonight on the transmission of COVID-19 among children, plus more neurological complications for some patients. Naomi Ruckham reporting for WJZ.
New research shows patients can experience delirium, brain inflammation, stroke, and nerve damage from COVID-19. The study in the journal Brain finds neurological disorders are the main and first symptoms of the coronavirus for some patients, and that some don't have severe respiratory symptoms. Experts say more study is needed to figure out why some people develop these neurological complications. A new commentary in the journal Pediatrics concludes that children do not frequently transmit COVID-19 and that schools should reopen this fall, keeping social distancing and community transmission in mind. The conclusions are based on several recent studies analyzing COVID-19 transmission by children. And doctors should be on alert for possible severe side effects from oral steroids, even for short bursts. Researchers in Taiwan found a link between short courses of oral steroids and increased risk for gastrointestinal bleeding, sepsis, and heart failure. Naomi Ruckham, CBS News, New York.
All right, you ready for this? It's National All-American Pet Photo Day. We know you got pictures on your phone. We know you have that. All right, so recently a lot of cats and dogs have become co-workers as people work from home because of the coronavirus pandemic. Of course, today is the day to celebrate them. Shout out to Kobe and Poppy and all the great dogs and cats out there. All right, WJZ viewers have shared these photos with us. So this cat's name is Snooky, or Sookie. Okay, well, I apologize if I screwed that up. And here's Molly dressed up in a cute outfit there. Molly, and make sure you share your photos with us. There's Harley and Tucker right there. You know, I had a dog once, and but it wasn't at my house. It was just at my aunt's house because my parents weren't playing any of that. So post on the social media with the hashtag #BeOnWJZ. It's not just a day for cats and dogs, though. If you have a pet bird or a chicken or iguana, I don't know why you would have a pet chicken unless you are on a farm, but you get the point. We want to see them regardless. And Americans raise a glass to National Mojito Day every July 11th. The mojito is a traditional Cuban highball and is perhaps the most famous of rum-based drinks. A highball is a drink with more mixer than alcohol. The classic cocktail consists of just 5 ingredients: white rum, sugar, lime juice, sparkling water, and got to have the mint leaves. Of course, do not forget the mint leaves, ladies and gentlemen. So it's rumored to have originated in Havana. It was a favorite drink of Ernest Hemingway. One piece of advice: do not strain the mixture on your mojito. All right, for Chelsea England, I'm Max McGee. See you again tonight at 11 o'clock.